to the Squared Circle Action Figure Podcast YouTube channel. Will here. Today we're going to do a review of the LJN toys, or LJN Young Bucks box set. The announcement of the AEW wrestling figure reveals at Toy Fair later this month got me really excited to review this set. But first, as always, we want to remind you, if you are a child under the age of 18 years old, this is not a YouTube channel intended for you. This is a YouTube channel intended for adult collectors only. So if you are a child under the age of 18 years old, you have to just go away, and when you're 18, come back. So let's get to the review. This set is pretty historic. There has been, I would say, in the collecting realm, or just in wrestling figure collecting in general, a renaissance. A lot of wrestling figures are becoming sought after. There's a huge demand for them. I believe that a lot of people that were growing up in the 80s and 90s now have pretty much stable jobs. They have families, and they can actually afford to purchase some of their kind of child heirlooms, if you'd want to describe them as such. So I think to take two superstars, one of the best tag teams of the world right now, and then reproduce them in that LJN form was pretty historic. I know very little about who acquired the licensing to do this or who bought the LJN rights to do this. I think people rumored that it was Chalkline. I know LJN was actually bought out by Acclaim Entertainment in the 90s, but then Acclaim obviously went defunct. They went into bankruptcy as well. So I don't know who ended up with the license, and I don't think it was really ever revealed. It's been kind of hush-hush right now, too, since AEW did sign a wrestling figure or toy license with Jazwares and Wicked Cool Toys. So I don't know if we're even going to see LJN figures produced ever again, at least of AEW superstars. First, I want to give you a quick history of LJN. They were pretty much founded in Manhattan in the 1970s, early 1970s, by Jack Friedman. He actually named the company after the associate firm which lent him the cash to actually create it. So it was pretty funny. The associate firm, I guess it was a PE firm at the time, or an individual, Norman J. Lewis Associates, took Norman J. Lewis, his name, and then flipped the letters around. So you had L from Lewis, J, and then Norman N. The company is based in Manhattan. They had many licenses throughout the 70s and well into the 80s. I believe that the WWE toy line began in like 83, I want to say. It was a pretty awesome toy line. Had about, it was an 8-inch figure line. I'm not going to go into it. Again, the line was, 84 to 89. You can watch The Toys That Made Us. I believe it's season 3. They have a great wrestling figure episode that explains the LJN inception and how it got the WWE license. There's the history of LJN figures from Mercy. So they do a great job at reviewing the LJN figures. And also the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast has a great YouTube episode on the history of LJN figures. So we're not going to go into too in-depth about it, but they're 8-inch figures. I actually have one right here to show you. This is the Hogan. This is part of the Black Series. This is actually a rarer figure because it was produced very limited amounts by LJN in 88, and then 89 it was reproduced under the Black Series by Grand Toys in Canada. So Grand Toys did acquire the license after LJN to finish off some of the figures that they previously couldn't release due to the company going bankrupt. So Hogan was a reissue. He was produced in 88 and I believe in 89. And then a few others like the Ultimate Warrior, Warlord, Ravishing Recruit, which you can see behind me, were also a part of that series. So after LJN toys, these were, these were great. They were rubber figures. They were not posable, but you can totally play with them. You can bang them around. As you can see, they're pretty worn usually, just because kids did play with them pretty rough. So they were fun though, but they were still really detailed, and the molds were great, and they actually looked like the actual superstars. We had kind of a rendition in '94 in WCW. WCW decided to do these hard plastic figure kind of statue-like LJN figures, and they did that with a company called Old San Francisco Toy Makers. They produced several lines of wrestling figures in this style as well. They were actually a little less movable and pliable than the LJNs if you see them here. You can see the LJNs was more of like a soft rubber. These you can really move, so they were firmer. And instead of being an 8-inch figure, they were actually, I would say, about 6 inches. I'm gonna put this Stinger, it's pretty rare. And these were, again, these were played with by myself and other children of their 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and they were beat up, as you can see here, because you just smashed them together, you banged them together. But they were awesome. They were a little shinier. You can see the paint app is a little shiner on these in areas, a little more detailed in the paint. But they were very, very awesome. I love these figures. After several series, the line actually ended for more articulated figures, because that's what we were demanding at the time. We wanted to pose our figures. We wanted figures to have movable joints. We wanted figures to have signature moves and action features. Almost to the almost harkening back to the Hasbro era, but with a little bit more movability. So that's kind of where wrestling figures went to this day. Now we have these highly articulated, detail-oriented, very superstar accurate like figures that we play with, and we don't get a lot of these older styles. So to see the Young Bucks, which I have here in LJN form, was really fun. So I'm going to show you the box here real quick. I'll put it up. The box is huge, and a lot of these older style LJN boxes were huge. I actually don't have one personally. There was a few tag team series, but you can see the artwork here. What they did is they did call them Wrestling Superstars. For some reason, they couldn't use that name here. But they were called LJN Wrestling Superstars. Instead of using the Wrestling Superstars name, they used the same font and put the wrestling name, the tag team name here, Young Bucks Tag Team. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. You can see here they have the bio cards here that you can cut out. It's really accurate to the original LJN boxes. They also have this flip front here, which shows the Young Bucks again, logo, tag team, and then they have them in the actual ring with the kind of child cartoons, which are pretty accurate as well to the original boxes. I believe the Young Bucks second action figures, the first set being created by Figures Toy Company, FTC. I want to give you actually a closer look. So you have Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson, obviously. This is Matt, and this is Nick, I believe. They're very difficult to tell apart at times, so let me look at here. Yeah, I think so. I think that Matt, Mr. Instant Replay Jackson, and Slick Nick Jackson. I'm going to give it a close-up here. But they are of that hard plastic variety, more of like the OSFTM figures actually, from the WCW days than the LJNs. So there they are. So as you can see, yeah, they have limited posability. Their arms don't move, their legs don't. They're more of a hard plastic style, like the OSFTM figures here that I'm holding, like the Sting, so they're not going to be very pliable. However, and they aren't the same height as them. As you can see, if you put these up here, these are a little smaller at 6 inches, and then they are actually at the same height as the traditional LJN figures at 8 inches. They come fully posed, which is great, in the Young Bucks signature entrance pose, which is awesome. And they're highly detailed. I love that LJN, at least the rights were acquired by another company, and that company produce these figures. I hope we can see more of them. I love the nostalgic feel about the box. I love the nostalgic feel about the actual figures. I think the price point's a little high. They retailed for about $40 to $50. They were a Ringside Collectibles exclusive. I will actually provide you a link to the website if you're interested in purchasing these figures. I feel as though if they produced a couple of single figures, less packaging, obviously you only have to pay for one, the price points would have been a little better. I don't need a full set of figures. Give me 4 per set. I don't need 6. I don't need 8. Give me 4 figures for a nice little action figure set. I would be extremely happy. Singles releases individually on cards like the old LJN card backs, and I would be happy. So I would be glad to pay $25, maybe even $30 a figure. I think the set is great. I highly suggest if you're a fan of the LJN style of figure, and if you're a fan of the OSFTM style figure, and you want something that's kind of fused together, you should definitely get these Young Bucks figures, because I feel that that's what they are. They're a little firmer plastic, but they still have the same height as the LJNs. They have great shiny paint detail that's a little more accurate than the LJNs. Yeah, so that's my take. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Obviously, if you liked it, give it the thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SQDCircleAFP. That's at SQDCircleAFP. We're going to be doing a 1,000 follower giveaway, so if you do subscribe to this YouTube channel, please share it, and also go to Instagram, because if you subscribe to our Instagram page, you could be eligible to enter one of the 1,000 follower giveaway prizes, which will be this LJN Black Series Hulk Hogan. So thank you for watching, and this is Will from the Squared Circle Action Figure Podcast. We'll see you soon.